See, in the Attitude Era, you had this wonderful little thing called storytelling, right? Where every title had its own story. It was the European Championship had its own story. The Intercontinental Championship had its own story. The tag team titles had their own story. The WWE title had its own story. Even the Women's Championship had its own story. And they weren't just meaningless stories to fill TV time. It weren't just meaningless stories to give us promos and backstage segments and to hype up superstars to sell merch. No, it was meaningful stories that got you emotionally invested. It was meaningful stories that really got your attention. It was meaningful stories that made you say, I have to see Monday Night Raw this week to find out what's going on. I have to tune in to Smackdown this week to find out what's going on. I'm gonna even watch Sunday Night Heat. That lets you know how long I've been watching WWE to see what's going on. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to WrestleHolics. I'm your host, Stephen Ramon, or just call me Ramon. First off, before we get started, I gotta give a shout out. We have officially reached our first milestone here on the channel, 100 plus subscribers. Hey, we're trying to grow this channel as big as it can. We're on the road to 100,000 right now. So with that being said, we have decided that every 100 subscribers, we will do a lucky drawing, a giveaway. One subscriber will win $100. For every 100 subscribers, we will be giving away $100. So to participate, to enter yourself, all you gotta do, hit the subscribe button, hit the like on the video, and drop a comment. All right, so with that being said, let's hop right into our topic today. After WrestleMania 40, Triple H went on his grandstand speech, and we've been hearing it ever since, that it is a new era in the WWE. Well, the draft has just concluded. As I'm recording this video, it is now officially Monday night, April the 29th, Monday Night Raw. Currently, we're watching the main event as I'm recording this video. However, that's neither here nor there. The draft is over, for the most part. Anything that happens on social media after the draft is not really going to be anything of note. Okay, that's just the way these things go. However, if this is a new era, I have to ask myself, then what was the purpose of this draft? Nothing really changed. If you really look at it, for the most part, this draft was completely pointless. 95% of the rosters are the exact same as they were before the draft. If I'm not mistaken, we only got a minimum of about 4 NXT call-ups. You had Dragunov, which granted I would give you, that was a good call-up. We kind of knew it was coming once he dropped the belt to Trick Williams. You had Carmelo Hayes, again, another call-up that wasn't expected. That was not unexpected. We knew it was going to happen. Now, two that were kind of surprising were Kiana James and Lyra Valkyria. Those were two kind of surprising call-ups to me. However, if you did see our WrestleHolics fantasy draft, I did draft Kiana James in my fantasy draft. I had her going. And then you had, rounding it out, was Blair Davenport. Now, potentially you could get some more NXT drafts coming up, on the social media, X, Instagram, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. That could happen tonight. However, if that does happen, are there really going to be anything of note? I doubt it. Now, draft aside, where is the new era in WWE coming from? Where is it? When did it start? What's going on with it? Is Cody Rhodes finishing his story supposed to be the start of the new era that we were all excited about? Because if we're going to base the start of a new era based off a new champion, then I have to question what's going on with some of the other champions that we currently already have. See, right now we already have lame duck champions. We have 3 of them to be exact. You have Damian Priest, Becky Lynch, and Kabuki Warriors. Now the Kabuki Warriors, starting from the bottom up, what significant have they done during their title reign? Absolutely nothing. They've had one title defense down to NXT, I think. Perhaps maybe 2 or 3 title defenses altogether. The only thing they've done with the tag team titles have been a prop with Damage Control. Now we're getting ready to have them defend the championships against Jade and Bianca at Backlash, which we all know they're going to win the titles. The question is, are anything meaningful going to come from them winning the championships? Who are they going to face? What teams? WWE has failed the women's tag team division on multiple occasions because they still have not put together solid teams. Right now, you got Candice Carter and Kiana Chance. Okay, that's an established team. You got Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. That's an established team. But other than that, what teams do you have besides those two in the Kabuki Warriors? None. Next, you got Becky Lynch, another transitional champion. We all know that she won the Women's Battle Royal for the championship to be a transitional champion. Now here's my problem. My problem is not so much that Becky won the championship. My problem is that we denied someone else an opportunity to win the championship. Now, presumably, Liv Morgan is on track to win the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. We know this. It's an established fact. We've pointed this out. It's been realized, okay? However, a transitional champion is not always a bad thing. Sometimes you can have a transitional champion and it can be a benefit to that person who is a transitional champion. It gives that person a chance to shine, run with the ball for a minute, so to speak, before handing the reins over to the actual next person that is being groomed to take that position. See, in that battle royal, you had a number of women that could have been transitional champions. Nia Jax presumably could have been one. However, again, I guess for the sake of this quote-unquote draft, then, you know, her going to Smackdown, we didn't want to do that. But with Becky Lynch not only being a transitional champion, it goes back to what the initial premise of this video is: where is the new era? Because see, under Vince McMahon, we had men and women winning championships that were established, that were well over, that have had their time in their prime, that didn't need to really win championships. That's what we did with Becky Lynch. She didn't really need the women's championship again. She just challenged for it at WrestleMania and lost. So for her to come and win it was pointless. We understand that she's going to hand it over, sure. But why? What's the point? That's old WWE booking. Giving someone a title based off their previous work. Damian Priest. We know that Damian Priest is a transitional champion. At best. If Damian Priest had any hopes of being an actual long-term champion, he would have done so. But he didn't. This is supposed to be the new era. But right now, the new era is looking really, really disappointing. Then, let's take a brief minute to talk about storylines, shall we? What are the compelling storylines? See, with the new era, I'm expecting new storylines. I'm expecting new excitement. I'm expecting new matchups. I'm expecting new rivalries. Maybe I just have my expectations way too high for Triple H and way too high for WWE, way too high for TKO, because this is supposed to be the new era. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe I'm the problem. Am I? I don't know, but there's no new storylines being developed right now. Okay, yeah, you can get me with the Chad Gable heel turn storyline. I will give you that for what it's worth. Personally, if this is going to give us the 2024 version of perked out Kurt Angle, hey, I'm all with it, okay? Perk Chad, baby, let's run it, all right? But if not, then we're about to mess up and we're about to screw this up big time. The Bloodline is still the hottest storyline that you have going in WWE right now. Even the guy that finished his story, Cody Rhodes, has no story. What is his story? He has none. And that is your world champion. That is supposed to be the face of the company. But you have nothing creatively for him to do, pretty much. You have him going into a meaningless title defense against AJ Styles, which we already know AJ is going to win. Now, I do know and understand that not every championship or not every rivalry or feud involving the championship can be grand. But I will have to say this, and if I'm wrong, you can let me know in the comments below. I will say this: when Roman Reigns was the champion, every storyline that he had seemed like it was a big storyline. Every matchup that he had was marketed as a big fight feel. This thing with AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes is not that. It's a check in the box. Again, old era booking. What's the focus on the other championships? One thing about the Attitude Era that they did right there, I think a lot of fans really miss about the Attitude Era. See, when you have wrestling fans that grew up in the Attitude Era and we're wanting the Attitude Era to come back, of course, we want the things like the blood to come back. Of course, we want a little bit more provocativeness to come back. Of course, we want a little bit more violence to come back. But you know what we really want? We want good storytelling. See, in the Attitude Era, you had this wonderful little thing called storytelling, right? Where every title had its own story. It was the European Championship had its own story. The Intercontinental Championship had its own story. The tag team titles had their own story. The WWE title had its own story. Even the Women's Championship had its own story. And they weren't just meaningless stories to fill TV time. It weren't just meaningless stories to give us promos and backstage segments and to hype up superstars to sell merch. No, it was meaningful stories that got you emotionally invested. It was meaningful stories that really got your attention. It was meaningful stories that made you say, I have to see Monday Night Raw this week to find out what's going on. I have to tune in to Smackdown this week to find out what's going on. I'm gonna even watch Sunday Night Heat. That lets you know how long I've been watching WWE to see what's going on. Story is so good that they made you wake up in the morning to watch Livewire just so they can recap everything in case you missed it. We're not getting that. That's what I was expecting when it came to the new era. Again, maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I got my hopes up too high. Maybe I'm expecting too much too soon. Maybe I'm being too impatient. Maybe I'm not letting Triple H cook. But for Christ's sake, how long do you have to cook before I start smelling it? Because you've been in the kitchen for a minute. I don't see no smoke. I don't smell no aroma coming out. Nothing. I don't even hear the microwave. I don't hear the oven preheating. I don't hear the air fryer going. I don't hear jack. Only thing I'm seeing is the same old WWE. The only thing that we've done is sprinkled a few little new stars in here and there. We've sprinkled in a few wrestlers here and there. Yeah, we got some guys coming up from NXT to probably shake things up and change it up a little bit. But am I confident that they're going to? Am I confident that Ilya Dragunov is going to be allowed to shine the way he was presented in NXT? Part of me wants to say yes. And then the other part of me kind of wants to say no. Let's go back to the draft for a second. You had no major show changes. All of your veteran established guys stayed where they were. The only people that really changed was the mid-card guys. Now, I can understand the kayfabe aspect of, okay, so you have your challengers for championships coming up at Backlash, like AJ Styles, like Tiffany Stratton, Naomi. You got those guys that had to stay where they were because, of course, if you draft them to another show, then the presumed assumption is they're going to lose because they're drafted to another show, and we already know that champions stay where they are. Or you could have drafted them to a different brand and then put the caveat out, well, if they win their championship match at Backlash, then of course they would have to go back to the brand that represents their title, since you locked the titles to brands. Which was probably one of the only draft rules that I was really okay with. But switching back to what I was talking about with the storytelling aspect, what about the tag team division? Where's the focus? Where's the hype? Where's the build? See, under Vince McMahon, tag team division was overlooked. Under Vince McMahon, the women's division was overlooked. And just this past Friday night on Smackdown, you had a segment where you had the Kabuki Warriors, who were supposed to come face to face with Jade and Bianca for a brief promo segment to hype their match for Backlash. I think maybe a minute, 2 minutes into the segment, you had their segment interrupted with the ongoing feud between Kevin Owens, MFT Tonga, and Solo Sikoa. And not only did you interrupt their segment with that, you also had that segment go longer than their segment did. And that was one of the segments that started the show, essentially. Which lets me know as a viewer that, hey, You guys don't even care about the women's division that much, so why should I? But this is supposed to be the new era of WWE. See, initially when we was getting all of this hype about the new era, I was excited. I've said that before. Because see, I was excited because I was thinking that we were going to get some of the guys that have been down in NXT that have been called up. We was going to get them, inserted into some key storylines, some key roles, some key development, character building situations that get ready to prepare them and push them into the main event level scene. Not necessarily the main event, but the main event scene level. Pushing some of the NXT guys into the US Championship scene, Intercontinental Championship scene, pairing some of them up, making them tag teams, pushing them to the tag team scenes. That's what I thought. It's not happening. If this is supposed to be the new era of WWE, then I, for one, am so far highly disappointed in what we're seeing. Now, if you were waiting till the Netflix deal in January to really start pushing it, then this is when we should have been marketing the new era. Not now. Because we're nowhere near January. I think the only thing that is quote unquote making this a new era for WWE is the fact that Vince McMahon is no longer associated with World Wrestling Entertainment for the first time in over 50 years. And by that standard, by that metric, then by all means, yes, this is a new era. But see, that is something that we the fans could have concluded on our own. We didn't need creative. We didn't need Paul LaFest coming out on Monday Night Raw, on Smackdown, on interviews leading up to WrestleMania, on WrestleMania to tell us that the new era has begun. Because it's the new era with no change. It's the new era with the same BS. It's the new era with the same booking. The only thing that's new about this era is nothing. Nothing at all. And at this rate, I'm losing hope show by show, promo by promo, match by match. We're probably only a couple of weeks away from the endless rematches that we were getting under Vince McMahon. All of these shakeups that happen backstage and nothing. New era, same BS. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of WrestleHolics, watching this video and hanging out with your boy Ramon. If you enjoyed this video, I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button. If you like what I said, hit the like button. If you don't like what I said, hit the dislike button. If you have some feedback to chime in, by all means, please hit that comment section. If you go through some of our videos with a lot of comments, you will see that we love to participate and interact with our subscribers, with our fans, with our viewers. We love to keep the conversation going about wrestling, because this is the purpose of WrestleHolics. We're not just same old boring wrestling news. Here at WrestleHolics, we actually talk wrestling. Here is real wrestling commentary, not just regurgitation of Twitter stories and other wrestling news journalists that you can get from X, Facebook, and anywhere else that you follow. So we appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. Remember, again, we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, baby. All right. So every 100 subscribers, we're giving away $100. I just want to plug that again. And be on the lookout, because we'll be working with our first sponsor really soon. We're in the process of finalizing the deal now. Yep, that's right. WrestleHolics already has their first sponsoring partner. So be on the lookout for that. And again, follow us on Facebook at WrestleHolics. Follow us on Instagram at WrestleHolics. And we also have an X account at WrestleHolics. So again, thank you for coming by. Thank you for checking us out. Thank you for the love, support. Thank you for the 100+ subscribers. And we got just the beginning. Until next time, peace.